Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Welcome back.
So, we wanted to talk about the concept of the Archons and the Archangels and give you like what our thoughts and experiences are as to, what are these beings exactly, or what are these forces exactly.
Well, really, all we have is what we've been told, and we're kind of working on looking more inside of ourselves, seeing what we see, feeling what we feel to try to decipher things because everything that we're getting is from, I think, a controlled point of view.
Yeah, agree totally. And you have to just right off the bat say that the whole concept of archons really is coming from a Gnostic point of view. And as we talked about before, Constantine the Great gave us this modern version of Christianity. And when Christianity was blossoming, it was very, very diverse. And one of the main forms that was out there was what we could call, quote unquote, Gnostic Christianity. And again, Gnosticism comes from gnosis, which is knowing in an experiential way. It's not like knowing because you've memorized different, facts and figures, and now you could spew them back and get a 95% or whatever it is. No, no, no. It's knowing that comes by experience. And again, you only get that through going within and getting that, amazing, more than an aha moment. It's a realization that hits you. It's more than a realization even. Again, I think the best word is just a knowing.
Right. It's a knowing like you kind of know what time it is. It's a knowing like you know what a frog looks like. All of a sudden these things, they're just, you just know. To me, it's even more than just experiential. It's just like you're reaching back into another realm and you're just grabbing the information that you know is there.
Yeah, it's like a feeling, and then at the same time, uh, it's being illuminated in a way. It's kind of an illumination that comes. We have to question why. Why did Constantine go and get rid of every Gnostic text he possibly could? And really, he removed them from the most part from our ability to actually, read these things out in public for like from 325. Yeah, by the time we had the full version in place, it was like 1600 years they were taken away from the world, except for in certain little traditions and little cliques and uh, little groups that stayed under the radar. There's a reason why it's the Western mystery tradition. Mystery, because it had to be a mystery. Otherwise, you'd boil in oil. Otherwise, you'd be drawn and quartered. You'd be burned as a witch or a heretic. You had to believe the official version. And it's the Gnostic version of things that tell of these dark forces called the Archons, the archonic forces that are out there.
Right. These I see more of like a what we would perceive or what I perceive as like a beastly type of force that's very controlling and very angry and very dark.
And on the other side, we have the Archangels. And the Archangels are in so many ways, defenders of all of creation. The Archangels are thought to be benevolent beings, but yet they could be serious, to put it bluntly. Yesterday, I was feeling the need to do a much longer series of invocation of the archangels, and it literally kind of almost did it give you a headache?
Yeah, it gave me a little bit of a headache, and it also brought in this feeling of uh, discontent, but it's really hard for me to explain because it was just such a strong energy, such a strong no nonsense type of energy, but it wasn't malevolent. It's not like it was malevolent. It's like, this is just really too close.
Okay, so that's going to draw a lot of questions given that explanation to
it's
people.
hard. Yeah.
What I did was basically doing a mantra 108 times through of just drawing in their energy in a protective force, because we have been very much attacked through cyberspace, through restriction, through censorship. And, we do have these beings that will protect us if we call on them. They can be very, very no nonsense. And I have called on the archangels to get rid of things that are of a etheric, non-physical nature, to get rid of dark, malevolent energies. As I've shared with you guys, I used to work with Eastern States Paranormal Society back in South Carolina. We did a lot of investigations, and then I would do a lot of cleansings of different houses and buildings and things like that where there were a lot of things going on. And so I would use a ritual, which I'll give you at the end, that would call on them. And, it's not too long of a ritual, but now I find that I don't even need to. All I need to do is just focus in on their names and vibrate the names sequentially, and that draws in their energy. It's just about intent. And then once the connection's made, because it's a ritual I had done for decades and decades, over 30 years, it's very quick. It's just like, speed dialing somebody on the phone.
Yeah, I think the way you put it is in like a no nonsense type of energy. That's the best way to put it, because when you do call on them, they're here for business. They're here to help you.
They are. And, on the flip side of things, there are these dark entities that are trying to control our reality, trying to feed off us in many cases. Many of these beings reside on, the lower astral realm, but these archonic forces go up into the higher realms. And there is a AI component to this as well, is what we've found.
Yeah, there is an AI component, and they do work together, and it's, been around for quite a while. It's just now coming to our attention. We're just now understanding what AI is about, what it does, and it's a very bad thing.
Well, you could say it's dehumanizing.
Very. I think
And,
it's bad, yeah.
I do think that it's kind of the opposite of everything that humanity is intended to be. Like in the last video, we were talking about how, it's thought that Enoch and Elijah became Metatron and Sandalphon. So they are humans that became archangels according to the mystical tradition, Kabbalah. And we find the same thing in the Vedic tradition as well, that humans can become what we would call like demigods. We can become very, very high angelic-like beings. And there is Archangel Gabriel, or Gabriel, has a being underneath him, her, because really these beings are genderless. They're light beings. That comes and works on us on a regular basis.
I can equate it to masculine, just in the sense where, and when I think masculine, I think of strong and strength. But then I have this feeling like almost a safe masculine, like a brotherly type of feeling. That's what I get.
Well, yin and yang, that's the forces of this universe. The archangels themselves as well can be equated with different elements, and they are the rulers of the elements, and the elements are what make up this manifest universe. So thus they are at the upper echelon. Like I've asked Cindy, I said, how high up do you feel the archangels are?
It's really difficult to explain that, because I do see them having a hierarchy standard over everything, over all that we know to be at least this planet or this galaxy. I mean, it's just huge. It's really hard to put into words.
Perhaps over the entire manifest multiverse, even.
That would be, to me, that seems about right, because I just see an umbrella over everything that I know to be everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so, you see kind of the archonic force as being the flip side of the archangels in so many ways.
Yeah, we do. And, just like everything else, there is a, like a pendulum, there's one way, then there's going to be something else the other way.
Now, we've talked about the Greys, how they pretty much serve the reptilian Draco, and that there's other beings as well that do serve underneath that. But the Greys themselves, the Draco, the fallen, quote-unquote, Nordic beings that are under this archonic force, they're not really the Archons themselves.
No.
No, they're just controlled by these Archons.
That's right. They are very much controlled.
And I remember asking you before, at the top, what's the top? Is the top, because you see this, ultimately you see there being a dragonish type of energy, but an AI dragonish energy with this archonic force. And, it's hard to distinguish what's at the very, very top of that pyramid.
Oh, yeah, it is difficult to distinguish. You just get like this vibration of a power, and that it has such a force to it, and it's looking and looking and looking for ways to keep humanity pounded down.
And as you're saying that, I'm getting a picture from the Lord of the Rings of the Eye of Sauron, just that all-seeing eye, just watching everything that goes on.
Yeah, looking for something to trip people up, looking for something to bring people down.
And we've talked about how there's so many different ways of looking at things, because we can't look at the all-seeing eye as being the pineal gland, which is the gateway to the higher dimensions. And once our light body is built, fully developed, then we're beyond so much of the dark power's ability to reach us.
That's right. That's really important. And what they've done is they've traumatized humans so much that it's extremely difficult for them to find the peace and the solace and the centering that they need to build these light bodies.
Building the light body is one of the most important things we can do, if not the single most important thing to do, because it really, what it does is it gives us our wings back.
Yeah, it's our ticket to go wherever we want to go.
It is. And so, we have this is that eternal battle going on between the light and the dark that we see in so many traditions. And some of the first writings that we have of this battle is really coming out of Zoroastrianism, coming out of Persia. And we've talked about the diaspora that has happened all over the world of the people of the Jewish tradition, but there was the Babylonian and the Persian captivities that happened, in which the influence of the Zoroastrianism line of thinking of the duality of the light and the dark. You have in Zoroastrianism, you have Ahura Mazda, which is the supreme god, and then you have Ahriman, which is just the opposite. It's your devil, your Satan, your darkness. Interesting too, because the way they depict Ahriman is different than what we see with this. I'll try to pull it up because I have seen this being actually, and honestly, I equated it with Anunnaki.
It's really difficult to discern when you go up and you start to look at things from higher up, where they're at, and it starts to get convoluted. I think that's the best vocabulary word I can come up with when it comes to who's at the top. There's many at the top, and they do feed off of each other. The most important thing for them, though, is to know that, or to make sure humanity is kept in the dark about their existence.
Yeah, I've seen a being of this type before. And so in Zoroastrianism, this is Ahriman. This is the devil, or the dark one, the evil, the personification of evil. Or we could call it also an archon, perhaps, or the top of the chain of the archons. And, you see this other conflict that's going on. Let's see if we look at this one, because there's other representations of, oh, bummer, that one's missing. There's a lot of that lately. Things getting wiped out. As you see, this one looks just like a normal human king, and here he's got wings, the Ahriman, and a tail. And this one, he's very reminiscent of some of the Sumerian depictions that we see as well, more of a lion type of being. Interesting to say the least, but these forces are very, very real, and there really is a battle that's going on. Now, when we call in the archangels, often you say you feel that they are depicted kind of like this, like they're in armor. They're no-nonsense warrior type energies.
And their armor is also part of their light body. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but when I was looking at the one behind you the other day when you did all those mantras, his armor was lit up like the light body. It was really curious.
Yeah, can you describe him a little bit more?
Well, I don't know if anyone's ever seen this movie. Gosh, I think it was Merlin, and it shows these soldiers, and they're in the full armor, and their armor is really polished and pretty, and it's very bright. And this one had that full armor on that was made of light, and then it had like a helmet on, and the helmet where the netting goes down on each side of the head seemed like the hair. So it was really truly full armor. It was huge. And then behind him were two very large pillars on each side.
Yeah, very interesting. Two very large pillars. And you've seen those pillars before. That gets me thinking of looking at the Tree of Light with the pillars of Joachim and Boaz, mercy and severity. Very fascinating. And the other thing you noticed too was after doing that, the light body was, well, I had done a ton of mantras before that, a couple thousand. The light body was very, very active and bright.
Yeah, it was busy, active, and bright for sure.
So, yeah, the four archangels, you have Raphael, you have Michael, Gabriel, Uriel. They can equate again to air, to fire, to water, and to earth. And they are basically, they have the power. They've been given dominion over the elements, so to speak. And they control, again, this manifest reality that we see. And, we have all the legends of Archangel Michael and the dragon slaying the dragon. And we have Archangel Gabriel, and Gabriel was also at the Annunciation, according to tradition. But these beings, when you're talking about density, you're talking higher than fifth and sixth. I mean, you're talking about as high as you could possibly go in densities.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm thinking, because I can't find a vocabulary word for the vibration that they give me. It's just overall, literally.
Interesting, and I've asked you many times, comparing like their vibration to, say, some of the devas that we're talking about as well. Different. Like if we're talking a Lakshmi energy, it's more of a nurturing energy as opposed to more of a no-nonsense serious energy.
Well, yeah, when we're talking about the devas, they have distinct personalities, similar to humans, just much stronger and on a more pure level.
Yeah, so when we're talking about, like, say, Krishna, very playful, could be very playful, almost mischievous at times, but loving and strong. And, again, we were talking about Lakshmi with the divine goddess energy, Kuan Yin, very, very benevolent, compassionate, really, really gentle, soft.
Right. So these beings can be personified better.
Whereas the archangels feel like forces.
Yeah.
They're well, I mean, they are the watchtowers too. And I remember when that first hit me as well, that these in the Wiccan tradition and the mystery traditions and magic and Western magic and occult, When you call on the watchtowers to guard the circle, you're calling on the angels, the archangels. You're calling on that elemental energy at the very, very top upper echelons, as high as you can go.
Yes, and they're there to do a job.
Yeah, which is to sustain the manifest universe, basically, and to protect the inhabitants therein. So the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram is the ritual that I was talking about, and I do have a video entirely on it. It's on under the mantras, and also under a different playlist. But here's a brief PDF on it. It's just 2 pages. Now, I don't even really do the entire thing anymore, because this is basically calling on the names of God in Hebrew, such as Yod He, Vah He, Adonai, Elohim, and what they use, and they use an anagram of Agla, which is Ata Gibor Leolam Adonai, to go around the 4 corners and to clear the elemental energies. And this sweeps away discarnates, dark energies, demonic energies. They get pushed away with this very, very powerfully. All I do now is just an abbreviated version where I draw a pentagram. And again, a pentagram symbolizes the 4 elements with spirit above it. That's what it symbolizes. It's not evil. It's just representing that. And it also represents the microcosm, because it's also us. It's also a human with the legs out, the arms out, and the head. Which again, we are, a microcosm of the macrocosm ourself. So now I'll just basically do a pentagram towards the east and just vibrate Raphael, and then draw a line connecting it to the next pentagram going to the south, and vibrate Michael, and draw a line connecting that to the next pentagram going to the west, and vibrate Gabriel, and then draw a line connecting it to the north, and vibrate Uriel, and then draw a line connecting it back, so that we're encased. And I visualize it encasing all around and above and below. And so you're in a ball, you're in a sphere of light that cannot be penetrated by any dark entities. And so that's a quick way to really cleanse an area.
And it works really, really well. And use your intent and your will to do all that.
Yeah, it's intent and will, because I've also done it using some of the devas, and it works as well. And so again, it's all about intent and will, and connecting ourselves to our higher frequencies, our higher vibration from above.
Yes, that's so, so true.
So guys, thanks for being part of the family. I hope you guys found it interesting. Please make sure you are subscribed. Thanks for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. You can reach us at evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com or EEARTS@protonmail.com. May you guys be blessed with abundant peace, love, light, health, and well-being, and may you guys always be protected. Cindy's going to give us a ding on the way out, because that always seems to help clear the energies.
God bless and namaste.
God bless and namaste, guys.